thepascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal.
What's up? We got some really disturbing and creepy updates revolving around this whole tragedy that happened out in Minnesota, where this man is literally was cosplaying as a cop, went up to two lawmakers' residences, and then tried to take all of their lives. Of course, there was one couple that is in the hospital. They're in critical condition, but there is another lawmaker and her husband that actually lost their lives. This is absolutely a devastating situation. And of course, this particular person is still at large. Now, of course, I want to share with you guys his face, the many different faces that he has, okay, the different looks that he has, etc., because he could be anywhere at this moment in time. And of course, this man should be considered armed and extremely dangerous. This man's name is Vance Luther Bolter. Vance Luther Bolter, okay? If you have any information, call 877-996-6222. Again, 877-966-6222. All right? Or you can go to the bca.tips@state.mn.us. If you have any information, the man is 6'1", he is 220 pounds, and he has brown hair and brown eyes, and he has it looks like a lighter gray hair. He seems to be graying up on top, just so you guys know. So take a good look at this man's face, and if you've seen him around, please consider him armed and very dangerous. Just consider him dangerous for what he has done here, okay? This is a very, very terrifying situation, and there's information here that is so wild that it is just the wildest thing, okay? And we're starting to understand, and let me just throw his face back up here. We're also starting to understand that this man is also a Trump supporter. Now, there's been a lot of information out here, or at least he's a Trump voter. Let's just say that, okay? And the thing is that there has been a lot of confusion being thrown out here because they said that police found in his car flyers in his car that had no kings on it. And there's a huge demonstration, huge protest going on right now as we speak. The streets are percolating with people screaming out against the Trump administration, and people are definitely feeling some type of way in masses, okay? In mass, all throughout the country, okay? This is a nationwide protest that's happening right now as we speak. And of course, I'll be covering it as soon as this video is uploaded. I'll be most likely live, so please check it out when I'm live. We will be talking about that and covering all the stuff tonight as well. But I did want to give you these updates because the stuff is wild. What this man was wearing when he went to these two lawmakers' homes, he was wearing a mask, guys, like a full-on bald white male goatee type of mask. And then he was wearing head to toe a full-on cop uniform. Then he also, on top of this, was driving a car that looked exactly like a cop car. Now, I don't know if he went on Amazon and bought a whole bunch of replica types of items to dress up a Ford Explorer to drive around to make it seem like and look like he's a cop, but he went to great lengths to try to do what he did. Now, we also understand that there was a list of people. He had a list of people. He had a hit list, y'all, of more than 70 individuals. I'm not kidding. 70 plus individuals on a list, on a hit list. So that wasn't what he did early this morning, wasn't even the tip of the iceberg of what he wanted to do. Wasn't even the tip, y'all. So I want us to take a look at this because honestly, this is some crazy stuff and there's new information, like I said. And people are wondering, maybe people were throwing in, or the cops threw in no kings flyers in there to throw off people, maybe scare people from going out and demonstrating today, protesting today. I don't know. But to me, it just doesn't make any sense for a Democrat, if he was a Democrat, to go to Democrat homes and take their lives. It just doesn't make any sense if it was politically motivated. But now we're starting to hear that this man, which we're going to see in a little bit, that his roommate said that he was a Trump supporter and he did vote for Trump, at least during this election year. And I'm going to tell you this really quick. It is totally understandable, or it is something that we can definitely see where people are going to switch sides, right? One moment there may be, a Democrat, then suddenly they don't like the views anymore and they change their ways and they become a Trump supporter or they become Republican. Regardless, those things happen all the time. Or they're a Trump supporter and then suddenly they are red as hell, but then suddenly become blue as hell. Those things do happen in real life. We've seen it all the time. So with this situation, this is very interesting, given the fact that this guy also was working allegedly closely to Governor Tim Walz's whole camp. He was working in the government, with Tim Walz. So, or, alongside, not with Tim Walz, but you get what I'm saying. He was in another department, but still, he was a Democrat at that time. So it is a very interesting piece of information. We're going to be getting into that in just a second, okay? But FBI announced on Saturday afternoon that the agency is offering a reward now for any information leading to the arrest and conviction of Vance Bolter, okay? The man who is suspected of taking the life or, pulling the trigger on two Minnesota lawmakers, okay? So we already know that Melissa Hortman, and her husband lost their lives, okay, in their Brooklyn Park home. And then we also have Senator John Hoffman with his wife. They're severely injured. They're right now in the hospital fighting for their lives as well, okay? This guy was impersonating a police officer. He was even driving a squad car, or at least it looked like a squad car, which is insane, guys. You got to understand, if he put all those things together himself and made a fake car, let's just say, to make it look like it was a cop car, that is some serious precision. That is some serious dedication. That is some serious planning. And I don't know, could it be that he didn't operate on his own? That's a possibility as well, which is weird, okay? But they're showing photos, okay, of a security camera showing him wearing what he wore. Look at this, guys. This ain't weird to you? This ain't weird to you? That don't look weird? Because I'm going to tell you right now, that looks weird, okay? Knocked on the door and was like, ma'am, sir, MPD, I need you to open up, that kind of thing. And then he opened fire on these lawmakers. And again, this was not even his whole night. He had plans to go to other homes to take out other lawmakers in the area. That is absolutely diabolical. Now, I want to share with you guys as well, because again, this has been absolutely crazy. There's been interviews done by his roommate, and that's what, from my understanding, he's married, but I guess they're separated, so he has a roommate. The roommate is sharing the text message, the last text message that this guy, Vance Bolter, sent to him before all this craziness went down. So take a listen to this. This is just crazy.
He dead shortly. So I just want to let you know I love you guys both, and I wish it had gone this way. I don't want to say anything more and implicate you in any way, because you guys don't know anything about this. But I love you guys, and I'm sorry for all the trouble this has caused.
Now, of course, I'm gonna pause it right there because I do want to make this abundantly clear. This is obviously a huge surprise, and of course, it's kind of hard to hear and understand what he's saying. So I'm gonna let this news reporter explain everything here more and much further and much clearer. But he's reading that, and you could hear he's shook, as he should be shook. It's a shocking situation. Who expects something like this to happen? And that's the thing. That's the other thing too, that he did not know this was going to happen at all. And that's how thrown off he is. He's like, wow, how did this, what's going on? He's confused. Okay. So there was no warning signs whatsoever on what happened here. Okay. So let's take a look at this. And I'm telling you right now, this is some crazy, crazy stuff. Let's rock and roll.
From Vance Bolter, he received in the 6 o'clock hour, 6 a.m. this morning. I'm going to read some of the words, and he read aloud in tears that text message, and I'll read you some of those words minus some of the filler words. He said, I'm going to be gone for a while. Again, these are the words of Vance Bolter. I may be dead shortly, so I just want to let you know, I wish it hadn't gone this way. I don't want to say anything more. You guys don't know anything about this. I love you guys, and I'm sorry for all the trouble this has caused.
Now, here's the thing. Again, no warning, no heads up whatsoever. Out of nowhere, they get a text message like this, and then at least his roommate gets his front door busted wide open. He's like, how the hell did this happen? What's going on here? And I get it. I'd be just confused, just as thrown off, just as heartbroken, and just as concerned, of course, if this is somebody that you care for and love, right? But again, this is some crazy stuff, y'all. Crazy stuff. Let's let her cook.
Again, this was David Carlson reading aloud to members of the media, including us right here, telling us the very last text message he received from his best friend, Vance Bolter, in the 6 a.m. hour. Now, take a look at the scene here behind me. You see his roommate, again, David Carlson, who was reading that text message. His best friend also lives here in this house with Vance Bolter. He and another roommate corroborated that Vance Bolter lived in his home just a couple times in the week, his other home being in Green Isle. He had some jobs here in the Twin Cities, and so that's why he was here. In fact, actually, this room on the right, you see someone inside there right now. There's a cat tower in the front. The window's clearly busted out. That is the room where Vance Bolter lived.
Crazy, right? So this is the place where he lived. They busted the place up. They went through all that stuff. Of course, the roommate is absolutely thrown off, completely surprised, didn't expect any of this, and I don't blame him for being this surprised. But again, some shocking stuff here, guys. Some absolutely shocking stuff. But let me play a little bit more. And this is the part later on she explains about him actually being a Trump supporter, or actually being a Trump voter at least. And that this was definitely a motivated situation, this is definitely a politically motivated situation, right?
Political affiliations, and David Carlson, once again, his roommate and best friend, known him since 4th grade, did say Bolter voted for Trump and that he was a strong supporter, but he hasn't really talked about politics lately. And from what his friend knew, he had no idea that Bolter was interested at all in local or state lawmakers as well. His friend didn't even know the names of the lawmakers who were attacked today.
Now that's what's so weird about it, right? And you can see this caption right here. He had no idea. And the thing is that, I mean, that's something that we have to put in consideration, that he was doing all of this. He was moving in silence. He was moving and doing all this stuff, writing out a list, coming up with certain things bit by bit. And then when the time was right to strike, he struck. Of course, this is absolutely devastating. This is absolutely devastating information, devastating news. Still can't believe that this even happened. And of course, this man is still on the loose. He is still out there running amok. Don't know where he is. Now, at least in those text messages, it gave the vibe like he may be thinking that he's not coming back. So there is a theory that maybe he's done something devastating. I don't know, right? But that is a fair assessment, especially when you see a text message that his loved ones, his friends and loved ones, received the night before he enacted all of these things that he did. But I don't know, guys. What say you? Like I said, I'm very interested to hear about why there was the No Kings like flyers, which weren't even flyers. It was almost like little, little pieces of paper that had sharp, something No Kings written in Sharpie over and over and over again. Real talk. That's what it looked like to me. It didn't have an address. It didn't have a place. It didn't have anything. There was just little tiny pieces of paper with No Kings on it. And I feel like either that was planted by him or somebody else to throw off the media, throw off the public, to get them scared to, from going out and protesting or something like that. That's just the vibe I got. But now that they say one of his bestest friends, like basically his brother, okay, that he has known since he was in 4th grade, said, he was a Trump supporter. He was a voter for Trump. That explains why they're saying that this is a politically motivated attack on these lawmakers. And I'm wondering who else was on that list. Was it all Democratic electives, elected officials, or no? I'm quite curious about that. But anyway, what say you? Let me know your thoughts are. Hopefully he is obtained as soon as possible and he's brought to justice. Fingers crossed on that. But most likely I will be live with you guys in just a little bit to cover everything that's going on in the nation with all of these protests that are popping off right now as we speak. So we'll be talking soon. Don't forget to comment down below, hit that like button down below, crush that subscribe button, and we'll talk here very soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.
Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.